Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to an unboxing video which I have not done before. Now this isn't anything crazy, I just have this set of the Mars Lumograph black pencils by Staedtler, and I had also bought the graphite set which I put a video out on these already and I did more of like a review. For these ones I'm just going to do a quick unboxing and first impressions about what I think about these. I learned that these are carbon pencils. So carbon and charcoal pencils are much darker in value than graphite pencils, but I wanted to see if these pencils are something I could use on their own and not in combination with graphite, because sometimes charcoal and carbon pencils only come in a very dark black shade and you kind of have to use them along with other pencils to get different values. So we're going to test that out today and see how these pencils work in comparison to other charcoal and carbon pencils. Over here on the grade scale, it makes it look like the 2B is significantly lighter than the 8B. So as you can see, there's a plastic holder around these pencils, which are in a little tin. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove them from that plastic. So that comes off really easily, and there's a bit of tape on the side. I don't know why there's so much anticipation. I think it's because these come in a tin, and I don't know, usually, oh, I see them, they're pretty. I'm not ready. Now before we open this, let's take a look at the tin. Up here it says Mars Lumograph black pencils, a set of 6. There's 2 2Bs, 2 4Bs, a 6B, and an 8B. You can see this cute little picture on the design here. Premium quality pencils with a high proportion of carbon for matte jet black results. This set comprises 4 different consistent degrees, particularly suitable for drawing and hatching, as well as for expressive sketches and portraits. Complemented by the Mars Lumograph for results with a metallic luster in a wide variety of gray tones. So these are very fancy. Just opens like this, and then it comes with a little pamphlet. On the back of the pamphlet it says Mars Lumograph black, and it has those points that we read about already that were on the back of the tin. And then on the front it is about the Mars Lumograph graphite pencils, which I did the review on earlier. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Take a look at the actual pencils themselves now. So I do have to say that they are packaged very nicely. Now I'm gonna go ahead and take one out. I'm kind of scared to remove it actually. Okay, these are hexagon shaped barrels just like the graphite pencils are. I just pulled out one of the 2Bs. I'm also going to take out 4B, 6B, and 8B so that we can go ahead and do a swatch. Now it's nice that it comes with an extra 2B and 4B in this set in particular. This is why I wanted to get this set, because I figured I would be using those a lot. I think the 8B is another pencil I would use a lot, but I didn't really see if there was a set that had an extra 8B as well. If my camera will focus, here is what is printed on the barrel of the pencil itself. It just says made in Germany, Staedtler, Mars Lumograph black, and then the grade of the pencil at the end here, which is typical for graphite, charcoal, and carbon pencils. Now, since these are carbon pencils, I am guessing that they are going to be difficult to erase and blend, and they're going to be a little bit kind of like sticky when you, not sticky, I don't know what the right word is, but it's a little bit hard to spread them around the paper when you are shading. They don't glide as smoothly as a graphite pencil would, so I'm going to keep that in mind. I'm very curious, so I'm just going to go ahead and get straight to swatching, you guys. So I'm actually pretty impressed here. The 2B does look like a 2B, the 4B does look like a 4B, and then the 8B rightfully looks like an 8B, and it obviously gets jet black here in the shadowed region compared to a graphite pencil, which wouldn't. But just to make sure, let me pull out some of my other swatches of different brands of pencils, and let's compare these to the other pencils that I have. So obviously I'm first going to start by comparing to Staedtler's graphite pencils, just for fun, and I did a review of these ones already, but you can see how dark the 12B gets for graphite. For graphite, that's pretty impressive, And then as expected, the carbon pencils are going to be a lot darker, and you can get a true black if you're using carbon. To be fair, you can do the same with charcoal as well, and in my opinion it spreads around a little bit easier. But I have enough charcoal pencils as it is, so I'm actually happy that these were carbon pencils that I bought and not more charcoal pencils that I don't need to add to my collection. Next, I'd like to compare these to some of my charcoal pencils. So I have some swatches that I've done before. These are the General's charcoal pencils and the Create a Color oil-based charcoal. These obviously are a little bit more similar to the oil-based charcoal because they don't leave as many gaps in the paper, whereas the charcoal, it kind of just goes, it feels more like a powder almost, but when you initially lay it down, there's often a lot of grain of the paper showing through. I didn't get that with these too much. Alright, I do have one set of carbon pencils. They are the Royal Sovereign Wolf's Carbon. So really quick off camera, I'm just going to make a swatch chart for these, and then we can compare them to the different grades in the Staedtler set. So I did a quick swatch of my Royal Sovereign Wolf's Carbon pencils, and the first thing I did notice was with the Staedtler set, the 2B is more true to a 2B and it's lighter in value compared to even the B in this set. You're able to build up a pretty dark value here. However, the laydown of the Wolf's Carbon was a bit softer and easier compared to the Staedtler ones, but I think they both get pretty dark, and I don't have the 8B actually for the Wolf's Carbon, so I can't make a fair comparison here, but it's very different in how this is approached because the values in the Staedtler set actually look a little bit more true to how they would be in a graphite set almost, except for the fact that you're able to get jet blacks with the softer Bs. That all being said, I don't really want this to turn into a comparison video. I have the problem of always comparing things in my review videos and turning them into comparisons, but I did want to do that just because I have a carbon set already, and I know not everybody is familiar with carbon pencils. They aren't really as popular as a normal charcoal pencil would be. So what I am going to do is a quick demonstration using these pencils only, just to see if I can achieve the right values without having to use graphite along with it. Though it did say in the pamphlet it works well with the graphite pencils, I'm going to have to test that out at some point and see, because sometimes mediums can be a bit tricky to use together. Some of them don't layer and some of them just don't mix well. I'm sure that these work well with the graphite set, I'm just saying, so I'm going to have to use those together at some point, but for the purpose of this video, I just want to see if these can perform alright on their own and can just be used as an independent set. And with this type of swatch chart, I have more hope since we have a range of values here in comparison to the carbon I already have, where it's pretty much all jet black and there's not too much of a difference in value from the B to the 6B. For this demonstration, I decided to draw a quick hand because I haven't drawn hands in so long and I really miss it. I also miss drawing portraits, so I'm definitely gonna have to start that up again in 2021. So this was my first hand drawing in a while. I went in right away with the 8B for some of the dark shadowed areas because I knew those areas needed to be extremely dark and pretty much black anyways. I did go in a few times with a Q-tip to blend, but I don't generally like how carbon blends with a tissue or Q-tip compared to like charcoal or graphite. So what I did instead was I started to cross-hatch very loosely in a lot of areas to give the texture of the skin. And I was very careful with my pencil strokes so that way I wouldn't have to go in and blend it out smoothly with a tissue. I kind of just left some of the texture there, which I think looked fine actually in the end. I think I'm using an Arches hot pressed watercolor paper or something, or maybe it was a mixed media paper. The Strathmore mixed media paper, just something that has enough tooth to it that it can handle the amount of layers that I'm doing here. I really did enjoy working with these pencils though. You kind of have to get used to the feel of them if you're not used to carbon pencils because they just don't run as smoothly across the paper as a graphite or a charcoal pencil even would. I mean, they don't squeak in the same way that charcoal pencils do, but charcoal tends to spread around the paper very easily and create like a powder, and these carbon pencils just don't do that the same way, which in a way could be a good thing because they are less messy. Now this means that they might be good to travel with too because you don't have to worry about creating a huge mess the way that you do with charcoal, and you can still get those very dark values, unlike graphite where you pretty much can only get a dark gray tone at best, and carbon doesn't have that shine to it either, which is another benefit, but it is hard to get a smooth surface. That's why I wanted to draw the hand to kind of test it out and see if I'm able to get a good texture. And with the method of very loose cross-hatching, I was still able to create gradients and create a nice texture for the hand without it being overly rough. I think it depends on the paper you use too. If you're using something with too rough of a surface, it might be hard to get a smooth result. But on the other hand, if you use a paper that is way too smooth, it might not be enough for the carbon to stick to. Although I would have to try it out because I'm pretty much speaking from my knowledge of charcoal and not carbon, but I'm guessing that something like the Strathmore Bristol Smooth or a cardstock would be just too smooth to handle carbon. One thing that's a little bit hard though is creating details at the end because the pencil doesn't glide very smoothly. I almost feel like the details came out a little bit too intense and dark, and I'm not sure I was happy with that, but besides that, I really enjoyed using these pencils. I think that the hand came out really nice and it had a lot of contrast in it as well, and I'm definitely going to be using these in the future because they have a unique feel to them in comparison to even my other carbon pencils I talked about earlier, which pretty much felt a little bit more similar to charcoal. This, of course, was just a very quick first impressions type review. But those were my first thoughts about this set. I really actually enjoyed working with them, and I did enjoy working with the graphite set as well, so if you haven't seen my review for that, I'll link that one up above for you guys to watch. But besides that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video or found it helpful. If you're thinking about buying this set, leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of these pencils if you have them or if you're thinking about purchasing them, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks again for watching. Bye guys!